come and cover your events. You can also contact us and have your business advertised on Heritage TV. We'll be glad to, help you make your business a success and also get everybody talking about your business. Right. So today we are going to discuss a very sensitive issue as well. Today is regarding divorce. When you are divorced, people keep asking questions. What is going to happen to my immigration status? So today we are going to touch on this subject. If you want to contribute to the program, please get in touch on us on all our social media handles. Send us messages, and we will put the questions straight to our learned lawyer and partner of BWS solicitors. She's in the person of Mrs. Eunice Achampo. Hello, Eunice.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
Very good.
That's good. That's good. That's good. How's your week been?
It's been wonderful. So far as the strength, we are alive forever. Well, I should
Yeah.
say it's good. It's good. Yes.
We thank God at least we have a good weather today as well. So we thank God for that.
So where are you this? And you have a budget we would like to spend time of your business companies to spend. You want to spend time with the family, at least spare
Yeah.
us time to educate us on the issues of divorce and our education status.
I mean, it's why I'm here, and that's why we've decided to do this every week to make sure that our people also understand what the law is saying about their situation as well. And so I'm glad to be back here on this nice Saturday. Hopefully, our viewers and those that are listening to us will be able to take something from today's session with you. And so I'm so glad that we are doing this topic as well because a lot of people may find themselves in this situation and not know what to do. And then it becomes an issue because they don't know who to go to and how to go about getting their status, should I say, regularized. And so it's a good thing that we are doing today's program, and hopefully, those that are listening will be able to share to people that need this advice the most. Yeah.
There's something that I need to give me your take on that. Is it why is this? Is there this saying that January is the divorce month?
Oh, goodness me. I think by the time Christmas, this is my view, it's not fact. So this is my view. So usually the year ends and everybody thinks, well, this is what I need to do as a New Year's resolution. I need a new life. I need to start things afresh. I need to make sure that everything that went on last year doesn't follow me into this new year. So let's leave the baggage behind in last year and then start afresh this year. So sometimes what happens is that because everybody has this New Year's resolution, they decide, okay, let's do this. I've kept this for so long. I want to be able to now put my life afresh. I'm going to make this decision and start a divorce process. That's just my view. So sometimes that's what people think, and they feel like this to in order to start afresh, let me just to get on with this and make sure that I get my hands free of every sort of baggage, anything that holds me back, if it's to do with a partner that was abused.
Oh dear, I think we've lost lawyer Eunice there. Um, I I think we will take a break. An advice from BWS solicitors. Then I'll try getting our lawyer Eunice on back on. My apologies for this. We'll try and get lawyer Eunice back on. So please hold on. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with lawyer Eunice.
WF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. WF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Hey, I think we've got Lawyer Eunice on. Oh dear. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience. We've finally got Lawyer Eunice on. Lawyer Eunice, are you there? Lawyer Eunice? Lawyer Eunice, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Um, we are done with what we were asked you. Yes, that's the point. If one wants to seek for a divorce,
Mm.
what should they do? How do they go about it?
Okay. So, in terms of getting a divorce, so usually the legal requirement is that at least you should have been married for a year. And so, most of the time, if you have been married for at least a year and you think that your marriage has broken down, the main ground for which you can apply for a divorce will be that the divorce, or I mean the marriage has broken down irretrievably. So that means that it has broken down to a point where everything that has been tried, and there's nothing more that you can do about the marriage. So, in such a case, when the marriage has broken down irretrievably, you are saying to the court, I now want a divorce. And so the court will assess this based on 5 different factors or 5 different reasons. Um, one of the reasons could be the fact that there has been adultery. So one spouse has had an affair during the marriage, and obviously the other spouse who's had the affair has admitted it. They don't really care. They feel that the marriage is over anyway. So why not go and do whatever they need to do to get out of the marriage? And then there's the other reason where, for instance, you've lived as a married couple and the one spouse has just deserted the other. So they haven't left any contact number, and they've left without saying a word. So there's no trace of them whatsoever. So that's usually based on desertion. Or there has been unreasonable behavior. So, for instance, one spouse is saying to the other spouse, do you know what? I really don't think this marriage is working out. I can't see myself being in a marriage with you any longer. They go out, they don't come on time, or sometimes they can go and then come back the next day. They don't really look at how things are going on in the house. They don't care about the children. They don't bring any money to support the household. They are always telling you they want out of the marriage. So things like that count as unreasonable behavior, and that's what most people would usually stand on to get a divorce within the UK. And then you have 2 years separation. So where the couple have been separated, they've been living apart for the past 2 years. So it could be that you are living in households, you are doing things differently from each other because you just can't get along. Or for some people, because they don't have anywhere else to go, they may be within the same household, but they are not cooking for the other spouse. They are not cleaning. They are not doing things. They are not communicating. They are not intimate. They are not doing things as they would as a normal spouse. So they've lived apart for that 2 year period, and therefore, when you are divorcing that person or you are putting in your petition that you want to be divorced, you're going to say that because you've been separated for the past 2 years, you no longer believe that your marriage can stand, and therefore it has irretrievably broken down. And then the fifth reason will be the fact that you've been separated for the past 5 years, and both of you normally don't do anything together. Maybe even if you have children, maybe the child or the children who are in contact with the other spouse, but the two of you have been separated for the past 5 years, and therefore you're applying to the courts for a divorce. So those are the five main reasons on which you can stand on to say that you want a divorce from the courts, and that's usually one of the things you have to put on your petition. And so there's the DV1, which is the divorce form that you have to fill, and then it goes with its fee. So you fill the form and then you pay the fee either by postal order, or usually if you send the form online, the courts will call you after to collect payments for the form. So usually once that has been filled in, the court will send a copy of your petition to the other spouse, and then they would be the ones to fill in that they've seen what has been written in the petition, they agree to it, and they would sign it and then post it back to the court. That's an acknowledgement of service. The court will then send you a copy of what has been signed by the other party, and then they will say that you can apply for decree nisi. A decree nisi is usually we apply for it, but it's just to say that now as a couple, the court has agreed that your marriage has broken down irretrievably, and they are willing to grant you a divorce. So on those grounds, the courts will say you can apply for a decree nisi. They will send you back a certificate of entitlement, and they'll tell you on this day we will make an order for decree nisi. And on that date, once they've made the order for decree nisi, they will send you back a decree nisi and tell you you can apply for a decree absolute. That is 6 weeks and 1 day after. So once you've obviously waited that 6 weeks and 1 day, you can then apply for a decree absolute. A decree absolute is your actual divorce certificate. So that is what tells you that you are now divorced. And usually the reason why they wait 6 weeks and 1 day is just so that if you're still contemplating whether you will still be married, then that will give you sort of like a breathing period to mend ways and then get back together. But if not, the person who applied for divorce will be the person that would usually apply for the decree absolute, and then a copy will be sent out to the other party as well, so that they know that the divorce has gone through. But obviously, in cases where there are children and properties and assets and things like that, that process will take a much longer time, because obviously there are things that have to be agreed and things that have to be put in place before the divorce process is ended. So in a nutshell, that's what a divorce process is like. So before, you go into making a divorce, we as lawyers will always tell you, go through some sort of mediation, go through some sort of a resolution so that you can mend your marriage, because we have to sign that we've advised you to do that even before you can apply for a divorce. And if you're an individual and you want to do it yourself as well, this is something that you will have to put down and say, okay, yes, I really believe that my marriage has broken down irretrievably, and therefore I'm applying for a divorce. Yeah.
It's about the use of outline. So that's about. Is there any instances whereby you apply for the divorce and it's rejected? For example, the reason is not a good reason was can it be rejected?
Okay, so usually, if based on the main ground that I've mentioned, that your marriage has broken down irretrievably, and you've looked at all the five reasons, so it's not adultery, it's not desertion, it's not 5 years separation, it's not 2 years separation. Unreasonable behavior covers a lot of, should I say, issues. So, for instance, if you've said to the court, or you've put down in your petition that this person has on this occasion stopped giving me, should I say, the usual amount of money he gives me to be able to cook and take care of the children, he stopped doing that, and you're just standing on that one reason, the court will need more than that one reason, obviously, to grant you that divorce. So you have to stay instances. So at least they will tell you, put 3 occasions or 3 events down and tell us why you think that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. So in your petition, you are putting down at least 3 main events or times in which the courts, or should I say, the court should look at and say that these are the reasons on which I'm basing this divorce petition. So it could be that, number one, this man was abusive towards me, and at one point I had to call the police, and the police had to deal with the issue. Secondly, this man also made my life miserable. He stopped giving me the income that I need to take care of the children and to take care of the household, and I have to struggle to find something doing to be able to even feed these children. Thirdly, he comes home late. Sometimes he comes home 2 or 3 days after he's drunk, he's smelly. There's nothing I can say to this man. I can't even confront him. And so this is another reason for which I want a divorce. And then you can put in another reason to say, probably because of this, because of the fact that he has been coming home late, he has been coming home at any point in time. I'm always quarreling with him. I'm always having to argue with him if I want to speak to him. These are the reasons for which I want the court to grant me a divorce, and therefore I believe that my marriage has broken down irretrievably. So if you state it in that way, then they will say, okay, we can move on to the next stage, and then we can say that we can grant you a certificate of entitlement to decree nisi. So there might be reasons why, obviously, the court will reject it and say, I'm sorry, but you haven't maybe filled this section properly, or you haven't stated enough events why you need a divorce. There will be things that you may not have stated enough, and so the court will bring it back and say, this needs to be done or that needs to be done before we can process the divorce. Yeah.
What do I do if things have not worked out between my husband and we were separated?
Mm. So a lot of the time, you have people that will come and they will say, do you know what? I really don't know what I'm going to do about my immigration status, and I really feel that it will come to a point where the other party would decide to get a divorce, and then I don't know what I will do. So first and foremost, like I said before, as a lawyer, I'm supposed to advise you as to how to resolve or to bring a resolution to your marriage. And so I would give you mediators, I will give you their contact details, contact them, try and find a way to solve whatever issues that you have with this other party. If the other party is not willing to go through mediation, if the other party is not willing to come to mend the marriage, then it's better that obviously the mediation team will tell you, well, they've tried contacting this person or they've tried to have a meeting with this person and they still haven't been able to get hold of this person. At least then we know that we have tried our best to make sure that you find ways of resolving the issue before it comes to an abrupt end. And if the resolution or the mediation doesn't work out, you come to us. Usually, we would advise you as to what you can do in the meantime. So, for instance, somebody will tell you that I have leave to remain, or I have my children here. What do I do in terms of making sure that my leave is also something that I will also have in place when this person decides to, should I say, abandon the ship? If for any reason before this person, decides to get divorced from the other party, we would give you your options. So if there's a leave to remain, we will tell you these are some of the things that you could put in place. So if you have a child with this person, then at least make sure that you are playing a role in this child's life. Make sure that you are doing what you need to do in this child's life. So if you are taking them to school, make sure that you can get a letter from the school. Make sure you can get a letter from the GP. Do those things that at least will be able to benefit you in the long run, so that once your leave based on this spouse has ended, you have another route in which you can also rely on. So advice from a lawyer is also important before the ship also abandons the anchor is left hanging on the ship, because you want to make sure that you've gotten whatever immigration advice you need in terms of your situation before the whole marriage or the divorce comes to an end. So some of the ways that you can do this is to seek advice. Don't just sit and wait and see everything go downhill before you do something about it. Seek advice and see how best you can also regularize your stay before divorce process has ended.
A couple they decided to divorce, and the leave to remain was based on the fact that a spouse of a British citizen, one of the spouses is a citizen. How then can the other continue to okay.
Yeah. So in a case where, so for instance, the spouse they came as the wife or the husband of a British citizen when they were coming. So when the leave ends, they are usually hoping that they will be able to continue on that same route. But when you look at our immigration rules, one of the requirements under the eligibility requirements is that you are still in a genuine and subsisting relationship with this person. So if for any reason your relationship or your marriage breaks down and the other party feels that this marriage is not working out and there's no way they're going to continue with your leave. So usually what happens is that you'll be given a 30 months period. And once that 30 months period or 2.5 year period is over, then it means that you have to then apply for the next 2.5 years based on this relationship. But if your marriage or the relationship that you have with your spouse is now looking so broken that there's no way you'll be able to get the documents that you need to make the next application, then that means that there has to be another way out. And so usually one thing that we always ask the clients is, has there been any form of domestic abuse within the relationship whilst you were in it? So sometimes some of them may say yes, some of them may say no. But if there has been any form of domestic abuse within the relationship, then obviously we tell the client, please make sure that you go and have this reported. So it can be to the police, but most women have access to women's charities and other organizations that will be able to assess whatever domestic abuse has occurred within the marriage. So if he has been physically violent, and if he has been abusive emotionally, he has been abusive financially, he has a cohesive behavior, and he's always making sure that this is where you are, or the woman is always telling the man, you are good for nothing, you amount to nothing, there's nothing you can do. So if you are going to work to earn some money, every money that you have has to come to me because I brought you into this country. Those are the kind of things that we will call abuse. And so you have to seek the assessment of these, should I say, skilled people who have the right knowledge and how to assess how this domestic abuse has affected you as a person. So the Women's Refuge, there are other organizations that help men who've been domestically abused as well, and they will be the ones that will take the information.
Oh dear, today is another interesting day. It seems like we've lost lawyer Eunice briefly while she was, trying to explain to us when someone is divorcing a British citizen and the person has leave to remain. Would they be able to continue living in the country? That was, the answer lawyer Eunice was giving us when, unfortunately, we lost her briefly. So I'll plead with you to just hold on for a few seconds. My technical team are trying to get her back on. But in the interim, we'll just play a little ad for BWF Solicitors, one of our sponsors for today's program. Please stay tuned.
BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our clients' service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got our sweet Eunice back. Hey, Eunice.
Oh my goodness. Sorry about this. I think my internet is playing out.
Yes, well, Eunice, I think you just,
Yeah, I was explaining that in a case where, for instance, the person is dependent on their spouse to renew their leave, what would usually happen? So, if, for instance, there has been domestic abuse, what they can do in terms of getting evidence to make an application based on that domestic abuse situation. So, I was saying that in terms of domestic abuse, you would usually go to the people that are qualified to assess that abuse that has gone on. And so, usually, Women's Refuge and other charities that deal with domestic abuse or domestic violence will be the right people to obviously assess and then provide you with a report in terms of that domestic abuse that has gone on. And then in situations where it has been reported to the police as well, the police will also have it on their records. And so they will have a reference number for the incident that was reported to them at the time that you reported it as well. And then, obviously, for some people, other members of their family or their church leaders or their religious leaders would have some knowledge as to what was going on as well. And so they would be able to also provide some sort of a report or statement to say this is what went on. So in such cases, you need to have evidence to back up what you're saying, because when you're making an application based on domestic abuse, usually you're making it on the basis that because of the domestic abuse that took place, I'm now applying for indefinite leave to remain because of the fact that my marriage has broken down permanently. There is nothing I could do about it because of the domestic abuse that took place. So, in that case, obviously, before um, the situation has gotten out of hand, we will advise you as to the different agencies that you should go to have these things assessed and reported on. And then that way you can make an application based on your domestic abuse or based on the violence that took place within the marriage. If for any reason you didn't have any sort of abuse or violence throughout the marriage, and it's just because the behavior of both parties just got out of hand and you've both decided that you want the marriage to end, then it will be on the basis that maybe you have children together. So if you have children together, and usually what happens is if the child obviously was born whilst the British spouse was a British citizen or had settlement or indefinite leave to remain, that would mean that the child also will have British citizenship because of the fact that their parent is British. And so, because of that, you can say that you're playing a parental role in this child's life. You also do things like making the decisions in regarding the child's education. When they go to school, you go and pick them up. When they have parents' evenings, you attend. You make sure you're playing your role in that child's life. You care about this child's well-being and his health, and so therefore when they have to go to their GP appointments, you go with them. When they need their medications and the rest of it, you are able to acquire these things for them. And so if you're able to show that you have a genuine parental relationship with this child, then obviously you can rely on the child in terms of making the application. But one word of caution I would also put down is the fact that within our immigration rules, if you are still married to this person and you want to rely on the children, what happens is that they will look at the application as if you were still partners. So you have to have evidence to show that the marriage has now broken down irretrievably and you are no longer together as husband and wife. and that is why you are making the application based on the fact that you have a parental relationship with a British child or a child who is settled here in the UK, and therefore they should look at that relationship that you have with this child and the fact that the child needs you as a parent to also guide them. You have an emotional bond with this child that cannot be broken, and therefore you want this child to also grow up knowing you as a father or knowing you as a mother, and therefore they should grant you further leave to remain based on the relationship that you have with this child. So those are some of the ways that you can regularize your stay if for any reason the marriage has broken down and there's nothing that can be done about it because both parties are unwilling to make amends. And so I would say that definitely look at the options that you have, and then we can see ways that we can move the case forward if for any reason the other party is not willing to continue in the marriage.
Question. If the other spouse is able to obtain a divorce certificate from Ghana or
Yeah,
country of origin without the other partner's permission,
yeah.
what can he?
So in situations like that, I've had clients who've come to me and they've said, "Oh, this person was able to get a divorce certificate without my knowledge." And usually what happens is that for if for any reason the marriage has broken down, so let's say the couple when they first met they were so much in love, and so the other party traveled to Ghana or traveled to any of the African countries to wed his wife or wed the husband. And usually once both parties are present, the marriage is done in ordinance. So both parties are present at the registry, or they've legally made sure that their marriage is also formalized, and they have their marriage certificate. So if for any reason the marriage then breaks down later on, and one party goes to get a divorce certificate from, let's say, Ghana or any other country, and they say, well, I think that our marriage didn't work out, so I'm going to get a divorce certificate, so here's a copy. And usually in that case, there was no mention to the other party that there was a divorce proceedings taking place, and therefore they needed their consent to go on. That whole process or that divorce certificate will not be valid, or will be void, because it it should have gone through the process of making the other party consent to the divorce. So if for any reason the other party comes and says, do you know what, this is the divorce certificate, I've gone to get it done, it's all done and dusted, don't just take it and say, okay, now my marriage is broken down. If you didn't have any knowledge about the process, you didn't know that he was going behind your back to go and get a divorce, or she was going behind your back to go and get a divorce, that that divorce certificate is invalid. It has to go through the right process of coming through you consenting to it. You have to be aware that this is what is happening. You have to consent to it. You have to obviously make sure that everything that has to be done legally has been done. So if one party comes and says, "Oh, this is what I've done," and get out of my house, the divorce has been done and dusted, don't just take that as gospel truth. You have to be part of the process for divorce certificate to be valid. So if it hasn't gone through the right processes, better say to the person, I'm going for legal advice, and therefore the marriage or the divorce should go through the right way, the right route. If they have done it without your knowledge, there is no divorce because it's invalid. So you can still say that you are still married to this person unless the divorce goes through the right route of you knowing that there is a divorce process in the pipeline. Therefore, you have to consent, and you have to also have somebody represent you. For instance, if you are not able to go back to your country of origin or wherever you're from, you have to make sure that you are also represented over there if that's where the other party has chosen to have the divorce proceedings take place, so that at least everything is done in a fair manner. And usually people will do this absurdly if, for instance, there's properties that they've acquired in their marriage and they don't want the other party to have any, should I say, share in it. So they will just do things quickly and make sure that it's done and dusted. But if it hasn't gone through the right channels, please, 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 it is not valid, and therefore it has to go through the right channels to be able to be seen or to be able to be recognized as a valid divorce certificate. Yeah.
This scenario,
Mm,
what the other party that is proceeding with the divorce
mm,
can
mm,
the other partner, the other
mm,
spouse,
mm.
contribute towards
So are you asking if the other spouse can then apply for the divorce themselves rather than the party who applied for it before?
no? I'm just saying the one who is applying for the divorce
Yeah,
can that spouse
yeah,
also, you know, can also along with the application and see that the
yeah,
person she's then contributes to the
yeah,
output of the children. Because if there are children involved, how are these
yeah.
kids going to be catered for?
Catered for.
Can that
Okay, so yes, so in such a scenario, so for instance, where the party who is getting a divorce is saying that, well, I want the divorce. Well, if the other party is not in agreement with everything that the um, party who wants the divorce has put in their petition, then they have to say that they are not in agreement with everything, and therefore, if there has to be some sort of financial arrangement for the children, that should also be considered. So let's say that both of, both of them work, but then the woman who is taking care of the children doesn't do full-time work. She does part-time work so that she can care for the children. One is the one who goes out to bring, should I say, most of the house income or the home income. So in that scenario, the woman has to obviously say that she wants some financial provision made for the children as well. So in that case, you can choose to do it informally. So the representatives of the both parties would then say, okay, let's negotiate maybe 500 a month, it depending on the needs of the children, depending on how many children that you have, depending on the things that you are used to within the family. If you go on holidays and the rest of it, then it means that that provision needs to be made for the children as well. So they will factor all these things in, and then they will have to come to an agreement as to the amount. If that's done informally, even better. But if not, and because of the earnings within the household, and if maybe the man brings a lot of money home, so you think that the man should be able to provide for the children until they are 18 or until they leave the house, then obviously the court will consider this as well, in terms of making a financial settlement, which is also another procedure in terms of the divorce. If for any reason the household doesn't have that much income and you want to go through child maintenance, so the child maintenance agency will also have a calculator as to how much the party or the person who brings the most income is supposed to pay towards childcare. So if they calculate the person's income and how much money they need to give to this child or each of the children, then they will let that party know that this is how much they require from him or her for this amount of period. So, for instance, if it's £200 a month, then £200 a month must be given to the wife for the children's upkeep. But usually, the child maintenance calculation tends to be less than what you would agree. What do I call it, informally. And sometimes the needs of the children will continue to increase as they grow. So depending on their age, depending on what their needs are, this will continue to change. So the agreements you have can be varied. So at each point in time, if for any reason the divorce has been finalized and the children still need certain things, you can say that, well, the children are growing and they're in need of A, B, and C. They have to go on trips. They have to go on school excursions and all the rest of it. And I can't do it with just the pay that I'm getting. So the other party may need to contribute more or further towards the children's upkeep. So this obviously can be varied if it's done informally, and whoever the representatives are, they can obviously write to the other party to make some sort of agreement come into place in terms of the children and how they will be looked after, because it's necessary that the children are kept and are maintained as much as possible, because at the end of the day, they need our support. They need to be looked after. We don't want the state to look after them. So as much as possible, if one person is earning a lot, has that earning capacity, then it's important that they also contribute towards the upkeep of the children. Yeah.
In this question, I think this will be our last question because of time.
Okay.
Yes, and what she's asking is that are there any other alternatives to obtaining leave to remain whilst divorced?
Okay. So in cases where, for instance, I've explained that if there was domestic abuse, then you can rely on that to make an application to regularize your stay. Or if there are children in the marriage, then you can also rely on the fact that you have children and you have parental responsibility for these children, and therefore you should be able to regularize your stay based on the children as well. So in a case where the two of you have been married, there has been no children whatsoever in the scenario, there has been no domestic abuse whatsoever in the scenario, that means that, as I said before, you can't continue on the spousal route because that marriage has broken down irretrievably. When it comes to the fact that the marriage has now broken down irretrievably, then it means that you should be able to find alternative means to regularize your stay, because the both of you have divorced, there is no contact, there is nothing going on between the two of you. If down the line you end up also finding somebody else and you get married, or if the person that you get married to doesn't have any status whatsoever within the UK, usually what happens is that when you have a child within that relationship, the child that you give birth to does not automatically become British, but after a 10-year period, once the child has lived here for a continuous period of 10 years, our British Nationality Act says that Act Section 1.4, that the child can then be registered to be British. So the child has lived here for the first 10 years of their life. That child can now be registered to be British. If at that juncture the child becomes British, you are able to make the application. Or you can say that the child that you have has not yet become British, but he's lived here for a continuous period of 7 years. So my child has lived here over 7 years. They don't know any other country. They don't know anything else apart from the UK, the friends that they've built a relationship with. They go to sleepovers, they go to school trips together. Everything that they know is here. They may have extended family here, like aunties, uncles, great grandparents, grandparents. So therefore, this child has lived here continuously for a 7 year period. And as parents, we want to make an application to rely on the fact that this child is a qualifying child, and therefore he should be granted or she should be granted leave to remain. And as parents as well, because we have parental responsibility for that child, that parents should be granted a further 2.5 year leave to remain. So, regardless of what happened in the previous relationship, you now know that you are in a different relationship, you have a family together. You can make an application based on that child who is 7 years, and you are able to make sure that at least you have evidence to show that you have a parental relationship or you have a parental role in this child's life. You can make an application for further leave to remain based on that scenario. Or let's say, for instance, there are people that would usually say, well, I haven't had any relationship, I haven't had any child. What then do I do? If, for instance, you meet somebody who is not a British citizen or is not settled here in the UK, and you, for one reason or the other, meet somebody who is from Europe or the EEA, as we now see it, you can also say that because you are now in a relationship with this person, and usually under the EEA regulations, you either have to be a family member, that which is a spouse, or you should be in a durable relationship with that person. So usually a durable relationship will be a relationship that has been ongoing for 2 years or more. Or if the requirement of 2 years or more is not seen, then usually they would have to look at the circumstances of that relationship. Maybe you've been together for a year, but you have a child together. Or maybe you've been together for even less than a year and you have a child together. That could also be seen as a durable relationship because you are living together, you have a child together, and therefore you are making on the application on the basis that you are in a durable relationship with this person, and therefore you want your leave to be regularized under the EA route. That is also another option. And then for people who, for any reason whatsoever, maybe may not have met somebody, may not have any children, and they're still on their own. Usually, if you had come here, if you were, less than 25, they would say that you should have lived more than half of your life here in the UK to be able to apply for further leave to remain. But if you are above the age of 25, what usually happens is that they say you should have lived here for a period of 20 years or more to be able to apply for further leave to remain as somebody who has lived a private life within the UK. And then there will be scenarios where you'll be able to apply if there are compelling circumstances. So you're above the age of 25, but there are compelling circumstances. You may not have lived here for a continuous period of 20 years, but because of those compelling circumstances, you believe that they should grant you further leave to remain. And when they talk about those compelling circumstances, they're looking at scenarios where, for instance, you've lost all ties with your home country and maybe you've become ill, you are not able to receive any treatment from your home country, or the treatment that you would receive is very expensive and there's no way that you'll be able to survive if they were to take you back. And these are very serious situations because we all know that back in Africa, there's treatment for most illnesses, even cancer and AIDS. There's treatment for them back home. So it's not as if there is no treatment whatsoever. So when you're making your argument, it has to be such that where they would take you back to, there is no way you would survive in that place, and therefore they should grant you further leave to remain in the UK because of the current circumstances where you were to go to if they were to send you back to that country. And so there are some instances where you can also regularize your stay. And if for any reason you feel that there are certain things that I may not have touched upon whilst on the program, then I will leave my contact details, and then you can also call to ask further questions or to ask what we can do in terms of your circumstances. Yeah.
What's your last words? I know you've given.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to tell, our viewers, those in similar situations? Any assurances, giving them, the encouragement, the faith, the assurance that
Yeah.
everything well, and therefore, you people shouldn't suffer in silence. You just
Yeah. Yes, Vicky, it's one of those situations where sometimes people feel because nothing can be done, so I will just wallow in my sadness and just wait till everything becomes normal again. And sometimes I always like to say it is better to ask and know what can be done rather than just to sit and pity yourself. So if you are in a situation where you've tried your best, you know that, well, for you, maybe marriage is supposed to last a lifetime, but it didn't last as long as you wanted it, and the marriage didn't go as you thought it should have, and therefore you have come to a place where the other party has left you in a place where you are stranded. You don't even know how you are going to come about food. You don't even know what you're going to do in terms of where you will lay your head. These things obviously come as a shock to you when you are going through it, and it's difficult for somebody else to understand your situation. But don't stay there. I mean, as I've said, if you don't even fall into the category of somebody who's been domestically abused, or you don't have a child, don't just say, oh, none of these apply to me, so nothing can be done. Always look at life as having a light at the end of the tunnel. Always be hopeful. Always look at life knowing that there's always something that can be done in terms of whatever the situation you find yourself in. So seek the right advice and know that at least when the rain comes, there will always be sunshine. Where there is sadness, there will come joy. So don't look at life knowing and thinking that that is the end. It is never the end. There is always a chance to move on. There's always a chance to make sure that there is something that can be done. So please, wherever you find yourself, whatever you think about your situation, seek the right advice. Look at ways and plan ways in which you can also regularize your stay in the UK. And if for any reason you think that you can't do it on your own, I will just leave my number as well. And if you want to chat with me, give me a call, and we can also talk about your situation. But stay strong and be positive. Um, as Vicky said, I'm from BWF Solicitors, and so we are located in Seven Sisters. We are located on the fourth floor of Anna House. That is 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road. We are in London, and our postcode is N15 4NP. Our offices are opened from Monday to Fridays from 9:30 to 6 p.m. And our office number is 0208 493 7340. So 0208 493 7340. And my personal contact number is 075 3581 3910. So 075 3581 3910. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Then Lawyer Richard, Miss Cynthia, and you're the accountant. Send my regards to all of them.
I will let them know. I will let them know. You're now part of the family, so you can come over at any time.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be the winning law firm in London.
Oh,
I'm
thank
proud.
you. Yes. And it's all because of our people. It's the people that make us who we are. So I'm extra proud of our people as well. And so thank you, thank you, thank you.
And hopefully we will see you again same time next week with another very informative, educative discussion. Thank you, Lawyer
Yes.
Eunice, and have a blessed weekend.
You
Ladies and
too.
gentlemen, so our passion is representing a partner of BWS Solicitors and Lawyer Eunice, who took us through divorce and its effects on our immigration status. I believe she did justice to this topic. Next week, same time, she'll be coming our way again with another informative, educative discussion and topic. I'll leave you here, and I believe I'm back on in the next 15 minutes with another interesting guest. We are going to talk about why you should write a book and how to do that. You are going to learn a lot from this. So take a break, have something to drink, something to nibble on in the next 15 minutes, and join me back on Heritage TV to meet my special guest. Take care of yourself, stay blessed, and I'll see you in 15 minutes. I love you all.
At BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Heritage TV. La 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 la. Heritage TV.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream that was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.